especially if you're a heavy meeting person, if you're taking 5, 6, 8 calls a day, it's kind of exhausting to take notes, to remember what you have to do next, to kind of transcribe the meeting if something important was said partway through. There's a lot of value of just being there and being in the meeting and then downloading all of the content later. I would say if you're just starting out and you want to try to get into a meeting recording, try it out. It's budget friendly. It's a great solution if you're kind of like, you know what, I just need a recording and a transcription. I don't care if it messes up some words and I don't need to spend extra money on this. Boom, done, easy. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Advisor Tech Trends. My name is Massimo, and just as a reminder, this is a podcast where we explore all things advisor tech. We try to make things simple, easy to digest, give you the best insight. So, what's today's episode? This is a fun one that I've been looking forward to for a while, and I have some opinions on because I've been using them for a while. These are meeting assistants, and more specifically, it's auto-transcription of a meeting. And so I'll talk about what that means and how it works. But today, what I'm going to do is go over 3 of them that I see in the market quite a bit. I'm going to talk about the pros and cons of each of them as it relates to certain vectors, price, quality, etc. And yeah, that's what we're going to do. As always, please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the pod. You've probably seen it more now, whether you use Teams or Zoom or Google. More and more people are entering their meeting with either the recording symbol on or an assistant coming in. There's all kinds of tools out there. So you'll see the actual user. Let's say you're meeting with Jim, and then you'll see Jim's assistant, for example. And Jim's assistant is actually just AI. It's just a person or an attendee in the meeting, but it's not actually a person behind that. And so why is this relevant? I mean, the reason why these tools were built is, especially if you're a heavy meeting person, if you're taking 5, 6, 8 calls a day, it's kind of exhausting to take notes, to remember what you have to do next, to kind of transcribe the meeting if something important was said partway through. There's a lot of value of just being there and being in the meeting and then downloading all of the content later. So that's why these tools were built. That's basically what they are. So think of it just like you're taking notes. A lot of them, what they do is they will actually record the call, audio and video. They will also transcribe the call into text so you can search for certain things that were said. And some of them that are a bit more advanced will actually pull out action items that you talked about for yourself and the other attendee. They'll also put a summary together as it relates to like a salesperson or as it relates to a marketing person. So you can have like different templates of summaries. So they've gotten very sophisticated. So yeah, that's what I'm going to talk about today. So let's start with, I'm only going to go through 3 of them. So let's start with the one that most people know these days, which is Zoom. So Zoom is heavily used by many millions of people. It's predominantly known as a meeting software. And about a year ago, when these transcription software started coming out, they launched their own. And so it was a bit of a, I wouldn't say rocky start, but slower start than some of these other companies, because that wasn't Zoom's like forte and bread and butter, but they realized they had to do it to remain competitive. So they brought out meeting transcription. So the vectors I'm going to go over today in this pod are price. So what does Zoom cost, or the other softwares I'm going to go through? Quality. So all of these tools have differing levels of transcription quality, whether it be no transcription or some or action items, etc. And then lastly is integration. I think that's a very important part. A lot of these tools don't integrate with anything, being a CRM or an email client or a calendar. And so you want to watch when you're looking for tools that they do integrate. That's really important, because you don't know what other software you're going to use in the future, whether it be a CRM or an email client. And so you want to make sure your meeting transcription software can come with you. So if we go back to Zoom, let's start with price. So Zoom honestly wins in this category. They're really good. It's free. It's included in your Zoom subscription. You do not have to pay anything extra. It's now included for all paid accounts. You have to be paying $15 a month, which is kind of Zoom's standard pricing. And when you do that, you get transcription automatically. Now, keep in mind, you may get dinged a little bit on storage. So typically these recordings will be stored in the cloud on Zoom. And so when you hit a certain limit, I'm not exactly sure what the limit is offhand, but you can upgrade. It's a bit of a paywall, but it's usually hundreds of dollars a year upgrade. Like, it's typically not a deal breaker. So Zoom is free, which is cool. Now, often when things are free and kind of an add-on top of an existing software, the quality isn't the best. And I think that's where we run into issues here with the Zoom transcription. So it's decent. It will actually join your meeting. It will record it all. It will transcribe it. It just struggles with like action items or technical terms. Like as an advisor, you may be talking about TFSAs and RSPs, and in the transcription, it's not going to understand that. And so that's something just to keep in mind. It's good, but not great on the transcription. Now, that being said, I originally looked at this maybe 2 years ago with Zoom, and over the last 18 months, 1 year, it's gotten a lot better. They've been putting a lot more effort into it. It's another feature, like a sticky feature, right? And so Zoom is going to continue to do that. So price is free. Quality is okay, not great. Integration, it integrates with the Zoom ecosystem. Well, for those that don't know, Zoom has a calendar software, an email software, meeting software, a calling software. It integrates well there. The problem is it doesn't integrate with any other tool, any CRM, any mail client, etc. So keep that in mind as you're doing your research on Zoom. It may be arguably a good one to start with and just try transcription, see if you like something in your meeting, see if it's valuable, if it's enhancing your meetings. If you already have Zoom, there's no harm in doing it. But in my opinion, it's definitely not the best of breed. So if we keep going, another very popular one is Otter.ai. So OTTER.ai. So let's go through these. I mean, Otter it came out a couple of years ago now during kind of the boom of meetings, and it's really good. It's got a lot of funding behind it. It's done very well. They have millions of users. It's quite a good software. They do have a free tier. The free tier is pretty limited. So it's kind of like a freemium where you try it out. If you like it, you're going to pay. The pay is $17 a month. So it's not horrible. The thing to keep in mind is you will actually need a Zoom or a Google Meet or a Teams subscription on top of this. So keep that in mind. This is a supplemental cost. But as I mentioned, Otter, since it focuses on meeting transcription, it's got some really, really cool features. So for example, on the quality of transcription, it's definitely reliable. It's very good. It does still miss jargon. It does still miss nuances. One of the things they did is they went after certain industries that are not financial advisors. They kind of went after lawyers and some other ones. And so it is good. It's better than Zoom. It will actually give you a summary. It'll actually give you a transcription that's fairly accurate. But I would say it's still not the best of breed in quality. Now, that being said, on the integration piece, that last point, it kicks butt. Like it integrates directly with Zoom or Teams or Google Meet, cloud tools like Dropbox, email. So like Otter is a really good choice. It integrates with everyone just about out of box. You don't even have to know code or anything fancy like that. It will integrate with your CRM. So you meet with a client, Otter joins, it automatically brings that call recording and summary and transcription back into the CRM as a note. It's really, really good for that. And so if you're looking for convenience in terms of integration and you're okay with it missing some keywords, Otter is a great choice, very affordable, and very popular. It actually has Canadian data centers, which is important for some of my listeners that need that. Not all of them do. Zoom does as well. But Otter is definitely a very, very good choice. So let's talk about the third one, Fathom. So this is actually my favorite. I've been using it for, 2 years now. Again, on the price factor, it does have a free plan. It's also got premium plans, and they run about $20 a month. This is all USD, by the way. Now, Fathom just recently raised like 20 million bucks, and they're really in kind of a funding round, and they're really pushing into the market now. Their transcription is honestly the best I've ever seen. So it's high quality. The AI transcriptions are really good. They have summaries that are really good. I can tailor them and tell them how, or tell Fathom how to change the summary as I go. During the meeting, it actually has a little app that pops up on your desktop, and you can actually highlight certain things. So if you said something important, you can hit a button and it will make sure to remind you of that later. And probably the coolest thing that I see in Fathom is the action items. So Fathom is really good at, if you're talking to 1 or 5 people, it will figure out based on who their Zoom attendee name is, who said what they have to do, what you have to do. And it actually spits out those those action items. And so that's honestly a big part of meetings, and a big part of the work in meetings is making sure you know who's got to do what. And you don't have to be fancy like in the meeting be like, okay, now I'm going to talk about the action items. Like it doesn't, it's just as you're talking, it'll figure it out. It's like 99% right. I love it. I've actually taken it so far as to send those action items in my CRM as a task. That's probably another video that I can dig deeper into, but it kind of dovetails into the integration tab. So just to remind you, it's $20 a month, so it's the most expensive. It has the highest quality and really good transcriptions. And it has really good integrations as well. So it has deep Zoom integration. That's kind of their favorite, Zoom and Google Meet, to be honest. They do also work with Teams, but that was kind of the third one that they brought out. Launches automatically when you launch up your Zoom. It integrates with some CRMs. HubSpot and Salesforce are the only two. Now, that's a lot of the market. People like me who are on Zoho have had to build a custom integration with tools like Zapier. So it's not like super hard, but just keep in mind that Otter has better integrations. They've really focused on integrating with everyone. Fathom is kind of taking the tone where it's like, here's our API. You can integrate with us as much as you want, but it's on you. And they do have some, but it's not like Otter. So keep that in mind. If integration isn't a big piece for you and it's something you don't care about a ton, then I would say lean on Fathom. It's really just honestly the best. And they do have a free plan that you can try out, and it has all the features, so you can really get a sense for how it works. The only other downside with Fathom to keep in mind is if you want it to auto join your meetings, you need to actually connect it to a Google or a Gmail calendar for it to see those meetings. So it's not perfect. There are some nuances to it, but it's definitely the highest quality. Okay, so we just talked about these. And I mean, just to kind of summarize here, if I look at some of these vectors, so price, Zoom wins. I mean, it's free. You can't beat free. Well, I should say it's included with a Zoom subscription. So there's no additional cost for the Zoom. I would say if you're just starting out and you want to try to get into a meeting recording, try it out. It's budget friendly. It works well. It's not great, but Zoom is constantly pouring money into it. It's going to get better and better. It's probably never going to be as good as Fathom or Otter. And that's just normal. Like that's just focus, right? They are focused only on meeting transcription, and they've got teams that just focus on that. Zoom has a calendar and an email and et cetera. So it's probably never going to be as good, but it's a great solution if you're kind of like, you know what, I just need a recording and a transcription. I don't care if it messes up some words, and I don't need to spend extra money on this. Boom, done, easy, and Zoom will be your best bet. Is probably the best, but it's the most expensive. So on the price vector, keep that in mind. So if you're paying already 15 or 20 bucks for Zoom or Teams, now you're going to be paying another 20 bucks for Fathom. So keep that in mind. I mean, the way I kind of calculate, it's like, okay, for 240 bucks a year, if you think of an assistant, for example, that's actually joining your meeting and actually writing notes, you're probably going to pay that assistant, I don't know, $40,000, $50,000 a year. So I'm not saying that's all the assistant does, but for 240 bucks a year, there's massive ROI in it. And it arguably gets action items better than an assistant can. So if you do have an assistant or a colleague that would typically join your meetings, you can have them focus on other things because the meeting part is just like way better with these AIs. Quality, that's the other metric. So Otter and Fathom outperform Zoom. So between those two, Fathom is probably the best, but Otter is a good choice. It's cheaper. And so on the quality vector, I would say Fathom is definitely one that you want to check out. Like I said, it does have a free version. Lastly is integration. So Fathom's really good at Zoom, but not great elsewhere. So just to kind of summarize these, price, Zoom is the best. Quality, Fathom is the best. Integration, Otter is the best. So I tried to pick three that have different vectors or different use cases, and you can make the choice yourself. The nice thing is a lot of them are open in the sense where like you can pop into one, try it, integrate it with your Zoom, then pop into the next. They all have kind of freemium plans to get you to try it because it is kind of a new thing having a meeting AI join your meetings. Yeah, I would say that's it. Make your choice. Jump in slowly, try it out. I would honestly recommend, a lot of you listening are probably on Zoom, just try the Zoom one, see if you like it. And this is what I did. I really like the Zoom one. I'm like, okay, this is useful, but it's not as good as it could be. That's when I started looking at Fathom and I grew into it. I appreciate you guys joining. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please write them below, and I'll see you in the next one.